Hello again. I am by no means opposed to Islam, as I've made very clear, to the disgust, I might say, of some viewers. Nevertheless, I do not think that we should ignore a situation where Muslims are being given pretty much a free rein to attack other religions of which they do not happen to approve. So, although I'm happy to attend a Catholic church from time to time, if an angry mob of Catholics began surrounding Methodist churches, say, and threatening the worshippers there, then I would feel obliged to speak out against them for doing so. This wouldn't be an attack generally upon Catholicism, but upon the behaviour of certain Catholics. Of course, this is not likely to happen. Catholics in England do not attack other places of worship, nor do other Christians. Neither do Jews behave like this, or Jains, Sikhs, or Hindus. Some Muslims do, though, and if they're allowed to get away with it, they will make a habit of doing so. Both the media and the police in the English Midlands are making desperate efforts to be even-handed, as they say, in their descriptions of the disorders in Leicester, talking of communities and young people coming from outside the city to cause trouble. I love this expression, young people coming from outside the city. You'll see a lot of this in the reports of the trouble in Leicester. What sort of young people? Hindus? Teenage hooligans? White people? Football fans? Young people? In fact, it is Muslims, chiefly of Pakistani heritage, coming from Birmingham to attack Hindus and besiege their places of worship. When we hear that 50 people have been arrested in Leicester during troubles between the communities, do you imagine for a single moment that this means 25 Muslims and 25 Hindus? It does not. All those arrested have been Muslims, because it is they who are intent on fomenting trouble and religious hatred in the city. On Tuesday, things spread to Birmingham. There was serious disorder in Birmingham, and in the description to this video, I give a link to a clip of film showing an angry crowd of Muslims surrounding a Hindu temple in Smethwick. Do click on that link and just watch what's happening in Smethwick. By the by, Smethwick brings back memories. I can't help but remember the election there in 1964 when there was a notorious but perhaps prescient slogan used by the Conservatives to the effect that if you wanted a Caribbean for a neighbour, you would be well advised to vote Labour. Hindus in this country are the most fully integrated ethnic minority one could hope for. They observe their religion quietly and do not force it on others. Nor do they in this country show any animosity towards other religions. The case is very different among certain sections of the Muslim community who wish to suppress Hinduism, for which reason they are now attacking and besieging Hindu temples. Surrounding and vandalising a place of worship is an act of religious hatred, as I am quite sure the police know. If it were mosques being surrounded by disorderly crowds of white youths, this would be front page news throughout the country and the very first item on the television news in the evening. Because it is Muslim youth surrounding and vandalising Hindu temples, though, we turn a blind eye. How many viewers knew about the besieging of the Hindu temple in Birmingham? We really shouldn't ignore this unless we want to see the balkanisation of this country into a dozen separate and self-contained states. We shouldn't allow this situation to spread elsewhere in the country. It's now looking as though London too will be affected, for at 6 o'clock this evening a crowd of Muslims is being urged to gather outside the Indian High Commission in London to protest against supposed injustices committed against Muslims. In the thumbnail to this video, you can see a flyer for this meeting, which cleverly fails to mention that it has been organised and will be attended solely by Muslims. This really is a bit much when it's Muslims who are surrounding Hindu temples and not Hindus surrounding mosques. I have in the past prayed in a Hindu temple, the one in the London district of Leicester, just as I have in various mosques, both in this country and around the Middle East. I don't have any preference at all for either Islam or Hinduism. But I can see that militant Islam in this country is on the march, and unless steps are soon taken, there's going to be more serious trouble.